What's up, my dudes? Turning your head in MX Simulator. Are we ever gonna get it? I don't know, but this is something, we've all thought. I've been, thinking about this multiple years ago. Wouldn't it be cool if you could actually, turn your head, rotate your head separately from your actual steering so you can, look over, to try to see if somebody's coming up the inside of you in a race, or you can look over when you're throwing a sick, thug, nasty, fatty whip and see the back fender and, give a little shout out to your sponsors, right? Couple different, reasons for this, but the main thing is really just giving you a little bit more of that simulator feel, being able to look around a little bit. And personally, I don't necessarily think you would even have to make it look like up or down, because if you look down, you would just be seeing your gas cap, and if you look up, you'd just be seeing the moon, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal to make it to where you could look up and down, but specifically being able to turn your head left and right? That's really what I'm talking about here. And on top of all that, it'd be really hard to map that. If it was like a full 360, you would have to use an entire thumbstick if you could look up, down, left, right, and actually move the whole thumbstick around when you're looking around. That would be a little bit insane, I would think. I think just a looking to the left or looking to the right would probably be the best bet for it. As far as that goes, just being able to turn your head. And that way, if on one of your thumbsticks you have your leaning forward and leaning backwards, you could maybe put your looking left and looking right on that same thumbstick. Or if you had, all of your leaning and steering on one thumbstick, then you could just use the other thumbstick for your looking, looking to the left, looking to the right. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think this game really needs this, especially the fact that they allow third person in the actual pro racing of the game. That's where it gets just a little bit ridiculous. And it makes it to where it just creates a cluster of all these other issues whenever you allow third person and first person in a pro racing thing, because you got all these people in there racing in third person that can see all around them. They can see everything that's going on around them. And they start to get this idea in their head that everybody else can see all around them like they can. But that's not the truth whenever you're dealing with somebody that's riding in first person. And when somebody's riding in first person, they don't expect the other person to see all around them like they're in third person, but sometimes they can when they're in third person. So it's this big, I'm just really surprised they even have third person in pro racing in this game. In a simulator, you wouldn't even think that would be a thing. You would think that would be two separate things, right? If in fact they wanted to have a third person pro thing in this game, you would think that would be a separate thing. You would think there would be a third person MX Simulator Pro Racing and then a first person MX Simulator Pro Racing, and or just no third person in the pro racing at all, right? That's just what you would think it would be in a motocross simulator. Now, if we're talking about an arcade motocross game, that's completely different. You expect that to be in third person, even if it is a pro racing series or whatever. With a simulator, you just expect it to be in first person. So, my whole point being is the fact that they still allow third person. So you've got, half the dudes running third person. They can see all around them. They can see when you're coming up on the inside of them. They can see everybody on the start. It's actually insane how unrealistic third person really is on the advantages you get with it in a pro race. First person comes with its advantages too, but the advantages you get in third person are just so not what it would be in real life at all. You know what I mean? You can't just see all the way around you in real life. So then it changes the whole dynamic of the pro racing, because now all these dudes running third person can see around when somebody's about to come up the inside of them, and they can adjust for it, right? Whereas in first person, if you're really trying to play the game hardcore, And like you would think you're supposed to play a simulator, you don't see people like until they're right up beside you, kind of more how it is in real life, right? So it's changed the whole dynamic of the racing. But one of the biggest problems is with first person, you can't even look your head over. So, like, if you go off the track and you're about to come back on the track, you can't, like, turn your head and see if anybody's coming on the track like they do in real life, right? You know how when they wreck off the track, they look down the rhythm section that they were just in to make sure nobody's coming before they get back on the track. Yes, there is a mini-map on MX Simulator, but Jesus Christ, I don't want to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare here and stare at my mini-map all day long. Like, I would rather there be an actual in-game function to be able to look around, avoid crashes. If you think somebody might be coming up on the inside of you, you can kind of get a little look over to the side to see where they're at. Because these dudes racing in third person, the advantage they get from that is just, it's insane how much it changes the dynamic of the racing, the pro racing, right? If you're trying to have a super realistic pro racing experience in a motocross simulator, then the only way you'd really ever be able to do that is have everybody in first person. Because then you're going to have, and on top of that, no spotting allowed at all. That's the only way you would ever actually get that sort of like, purest form of racing in MX Simulator, that most realistic, purest form. It's the only way you could do it. If you force first person and you didn't allow spotting at all. Because there's not really spotting in real life, and there ain't no, I promise you, for damn sure promise you, there ain't no third person in real life. There might one day get to the point where there's kind of like, they're talking in the radio to the guys, so there's a bit of a spotting element one day, but they don't really do that right now. So it's definitely, there's just certain elements to the pro racing on MX Sim that just make the whole ecosystem and the whole experience of the racing a whole different animal than what it would be in real life. And the fact that all these dudes trying to race pure in first person, we can't even turn our damn head in the game, right? So it's like really, it's almost to the point where I could see where a lot of people would think, damn, I have to run third person in pro racing because of how much of an advantage I'm getting from it. Because you really do. You get such an insane advantage just on what you can see around you. You can avoid so many more crashes in third person. You can get such a better start in third person. I mean, it's insane. It is insane. There's probably a lot of people that might be like first person pro racers, might be like really hardcore into the first person in this game, but I guarantee you they still start in third person. Most of them probably do. I don't, but I'm one of those kind of dudes, man. I'm first person all or nothing, no matter what it is. First person, dog. That's the way I've always been in this game. I don't know. I just feel like it just creates more of a problem than what you gain from it by allowing third person with everybody racing in first person. It just seems to me like it would be better if it was just first person forced, but you could turn your head in the game, right? So you could, on the start, if you take off down the start line and you're like thinking you're going to get the whole shot, but you're kind of thinking somebody might be up the inside of you, you can just turn one of your thumbsticks, kind of turn your head over just a little bit and kind of see where people are at, Or if you throw a whip like this, let me just kind of show you. Like in first person, this is what you're seeing when you throw a whip. It's kind of like you're kind of stuck on the axis, right? Which nobody really does this in real life when they throw big thug nasty fatty whips. Nobody's like looking like right here. They're going to have their head turned and looking ahead, or it's going to be more of like their view is going to be more like where they're kind of looking off to the side of the bike, right? They're going to kind of have that sort of mentality and that sort of look whenever they do a whip like that. So if you were able to turn your head, you would just get such a more realistic. That'd be so cool, dude. Being able to whip like that and then just turn your head over and look at the side of the bike, look at all the sponsors and shit. It'd be badass. But JLV would really have to do this in a way to where it was smooth, it was fluent, it looked realistic, the animation of the head moving was realistic, and of course you would need like a locking point. You wouldn't just want to be able to turn your head all the way around backwards like a hoot owl. There'd need to be like where no matter how hard you're trying to look your head over, there's a limit there with how hard you can, turn your head. I don't know. Hopefully one day we can get the looking around. I think the best bet, like I said, would just be turning your thumbstick like to the left or right, and you just turn your head to the left or right, and then when you let off of it, your head just sort of naturally comes back to the straightforward position. And if you don't turn it at all, your head just stays on the normal, first person position like it normally is. So you don't have to use it, you don't have to look around. But just having that slight little ability to look would be awesome. I mean, just like right here, jumping over this jump, if I'm wanting to look even further over, let me get this in this view to kind of show you what I'm talking about. There's so many little just applications, not only like being able to look at your whips and shit better, but, there's a lot of just cool applications that it would have like that, but also like, could you imagine throwing fucking dualies beside somebody and both of you are like looking over at each other? Oh my God, dog. Or if both of you are like about to cross the finish line at the same time of a pro race and both of you are looking over at each other, dude, that'd be so sick. But like right here, jumping over a jump like this, let's say I've got like a 15-second lead or some shit and I don't see anybody in my, normal first person view, but I can turn my head a little bit over here while I'm hitting this jump and see people coming off that big-ass tabletop over there, right? If I could just turn my head real quick as I'm riding, dude, that would be such a cool thing to be able to do. And in a way, it's already in the game. I mean, you can come in here with a free cam. This wouldn't be a hard thing to put in, is what I'm saying, like, at all. JLV could do this pretty lickety split. It's just you'd have to put a setting in there with, like, how fast it turns your head and how fast you snap back. But I would say about the limit you would want it is, like, just being able to turn your head all the way to the side and not back any, right? You don't want it to be like you're actually, like, rotating your shoulders and looking behind you. That would be too much, right? I don't want to be able to, you shouldn't be able to, like, look plumb behind you and see somebody behind you, but you should be able to look, like, all the way to the right and all the way to the left. You know what I mean? But not like look up over behind your shoulder. That would be a little too extreme in my opinion. But yeah, this should definitely be in this game. I mean, I don't really know why it wouldn't, why it shouldn't, but you can let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. Yeah, I'm ready to be able to see my fucking back fender, dog, when I throw these sick thug nasty whips. It'd just be so cool to kind of like, glide over a whip and just slightly turn your head over while you're looking at it. That'd be so cool. And just in a race situation, kind of being able to, if you hit a jump, you don't really know if somebody's up the inside of you or not. You can just kind of take a little peek over real quick, see where they're at. That would help me a lot in my last heat race that I was in. Had a guy up the inside of me, and I was just naturally, the way I was hitting that jump into that corner, I was naturally kind of, angling over a little bit. And with certain jumps like that you're kind of, having that slight little like scrub crossover on the jump to try to set yourself up for the corner. Well, if you're knowing you're crossing over a little bit, you can look. Or if you make a mistake, right, and mess up on like right before an over-under, you can like look over to your right and see if any dudes are coming. It would just be such a cool another layer to the gameplay element, I feel, than the pro racing element to the game. This is definitely something that needs to be done, JLV, pretty soon, dog. Pretty soon. So that's my opinion. I just think you should be able to look left and right all the way, not look behind you, and not look up or down, because that would be kind of insane. And it would be really hard to map that to enough buttons or enough, freaking thumbsticks. It would be pretty tough if it was like a full, 360 view where you're just looking wherever the hell you want to look. Like that's a little bit insane, I would say. That'd be really hard to control that to begin with while you're riding. It's a lot easier to just control looking left and right while you're riding, right? I think that's a lot more practical as far as a gameplay sense and a controller input sense, right? But either way, hopefully one day we'll see it. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I know. Either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.